Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Season 1 is here, and it added a few things for us to entertain ourselves with. Today is a bit of a survival guide, if you like. It's a bit of an overused term, but I'm gonna use it. We're gonna talk about, is there anything really to do in the game now, first week of the Season 1, and what's there to expect. So this is the kind of thing that we're talking about here. I'm without a coffee, but you can grab one if you would like to talk about this with me. Rewards and other kind of attractions in the game have been very insufficient to this point in time. They did add a few things that are going to keep my alts preoccupied, and that's what we're talking about today. First things first, LFR Wing 1 is open, so now there is end game. For me, at the very least, I thought that my end game is going to be Delves, but this is why Delves content is not a priority for me right now, because I simply find them boring. I find them boring, jumping puzzles and silly stuff for not all that much oomph and not all that much enjoyment in the end. In all honesty, running dungeons and LFR now would be a lot more lucrative and a lot more feel like value for your time. I do not think that Delves have delivered on what they needed to do. At the very least, very simplistically, Delves need loot. More loot. Yes, I know that there is one of those locked chests at the end, and yes, I've opened a few of them, but honestly, that's just insufficient amount of carrot on that stick for me personally. You tell me if it's the best thing you've ever experienced in your life. Alright, so you need to get to item level 5, 6, 7. That is your goal. You should have been doing it so far before LFR opened, but better late than never. 5, 6, 7 is what will get you into LFR. How to get there? You spam heroic dungeons. That's the best way to do it. Yes, you can do delves, but mate, it's insufficient. You will do... It is not that fast. It is rather boring. It is kind of burning at least me out, and at the end you may get... So you will get one piece, guaranteed loot, if it's one of those unlockable chest kind of delves. But that piece is maybe something you need or maybe something you don't need. There is no guarantees. Look, loot is scarce, essentially. It is not gonna lift your item level that well. How else to lift your item level? If you're just there on the edge, somewhere maybe 560, maybe 566, as my boomkin was, you simply go into this little room here and find our familiar Draconids, and you're going to basically upgrade your gear with the new type of Valor Stones. Okay, boring as hell, but linear system, grindable if you have nothing better to do in life, and that's how you can spend your days here. So you do get to 5, 6, 7, and you queue for LFR. Okay, first wing of LFR is going to be separately reviewed in a separate video where I'm gonna do boss guides. I'm gonna do boss guides similar to how I started publishing dungeon guides. Some bosses are relatively ruffle stomp, at least the first boss. It's kind of fairly easy and all the abilities are telegraphed, but don't even try and tell me that you don't need a friendly guide for boss number 2 if you've already tried this, Bloodbound Horror, and if you know what I'm talking about. That guy is gonna eat your LFR group for breakfast, quite literally, and you're gonna waste your time if you don't know what you're doing. So do stay around for those kind of guides. But LFR is where you go, essentially. That's one thing to do. Now, Mythics are open now. You can queue for Mythics, you can take a look at what Mythic groups are already going. As a tank, you will have... Well, you will need to do the most. You need to know the pathing, preferably through these dungeons, because the tolerance in those dungeons for your inability to find your way and being a very mediocre tank is rather low. We are not overgearing content vastly just yet, and it's kind of that sense when the difficulty is there. Stuff hits hard. Also, don't forget that they've rebalanced things. What used to be Mythic 0 is now Heroics, and now Mythic 0 is what used to be Mythics plus 10. And it certainly feels that way. Things hit you hard, in my humble opinion. Anyway, in this relatively barely pass mark gear, okay? But there is some fun to be had, I suppose. Yes, it's regurgitated content. Yes, it's repurposed content. It's old dungeons rebranded into Mythics, available in Mythic mode, such as Tirna Sai. I never knew how to pronounce that name of the dungeon from Shadowlands, but I did it today. It took ages, and I just, I sort of semi-enjoyed it, I suppose. I semi-enjoyed it. There was a little bit of a tint of nostalgia, plus I got a piece of loot there for my Paladin. For my Paladin in mind, Retribution, but I got it on my Warrior, unfortunately, who I'm gonna try and go as arms into DPS spec at some point. So I got a piece of loot, okay? That's cool. Now, World Boss. How could I forget about the World Boss? World Boss arguably maybe is even the least amount of effort than the most amount of luck, loot, if you're lucky. That is the least amount of investment in terms of thing. You just go there, it's a world quest, you know how world bosses work, you queue up or you start your own group, it fills up in 5 seconds, you kill the boss, and you may be lucky to get a piece of gear over 600, item level 600. For your very fresh alts, it is that nice little hit of dopamine, and I think this world is wonderful, but it just needs more of that dopamine, and there is insufficient amount of it. But there is the world boss to kill for you. Go on all of your alts, do at least that. That's at least the least thing that I would do. Out of my 3 alts that I took at max level to kill the boss today, 2 of them got a piece of gear. I don't know, maybe I was lucky. Normally my luck is horrible with rolls, with loot rolls and stuff. So this time around maybe it is a reasonable actually chance to get a piece of gear, maybe like 30% or something. Or maybe I was just incredibly lucky today, so 2 out of 3 got a piece of gear. Do that. Delves. Let's briefly talk about Delves again. Delves at tier 4 are now open. So if you are a Delver, you know, more power to you. This is your kind of expansion. It's not mine so far anyway. And you just have another difficulty. You have another difficulty lifted, obviously, for that difficulty reward in terms of the loot that you would get. I probably would try it on some of the characters that I actually simply enjoy playing, such as my Protection Warrior. And once again, if you are playing something with a tanking spec attached to it, which you should, in my humble opinion, then I would go into the Delves as a tank. I would kinda not go as DPS, especially not as ranged DPS, of course, unless you don't have any other choice. Then you're a glass cannon, try to kill them before they kill you, otherwise there is too much environmental damage for you to survive if you're not in the tanking spec, in my humble opinion. You talk to me about your experience so far, I don't know. Next week we get story mode for the raid. Look, for me, story is LFR. I don't need to see the story with no effort. So for me, actually, beating the Bloodbound Horror, the most difficult boss of LFR week 1, number 2, the boss number 2, was fun. It was fun. It was even fun instructing my team. My raid, it almost reminded me of the good old raiding days, except with a very little amount of investment. And I think people appreciated it too. So it actually made my day. So that might be something fun for you to do. But if you feel like a no-effort, leisurely stroll, kill stuff in solo mode, basically, and see what happens in the raid, story mode is going to be for you next week, not this week. Luckily, I don't know, maybe Blizzard understands just how little content they gave us. But luckily, the wing of LFR number 2 opens next week. Normally, if you remember, in World of Warcraft, wings of LFR open every 2 weeks. And in the world scarce of content, I actually think it would have hurt. But this time around, I kinda have something to look forward to, which is the next wing of LFR. And I think for someone who is juggling between 2-3 alts, I suppose, and plays casually like me, not all the time, I think having 2 wings open, basically 4 bosses to kill per alt, is actually going to give enough saturation of content to the point of acceptance. I'm not saying joy, I'm saying acceptance. Is it how it should be? Is it okay? For Blizzard, no. I think they need to add more loot to Delves, they need to make content a bit more lively and a bit more oomphy. You need to feel like you're getting stuff. You need to feel like you're getting stuff, as opposed to currency, tiny upgrade that means nothing, tiny upgrade that means nothing, as opposed to that. That's what the World of Warcraft has become, and that is the main thing. I don't need a separate video to rant about it. I can just inject it here, but that is the main thing I'm not okay with. And that's why I think the World of Warcraft will be bleeding people. I do think so. I think they will lose momentum, but hopefully they keep the finger on the pulse and change something about it. That's it. That's my basic casual survival guide for the World of Warcraft War Within Season 1, early Season 1. Anyway, you let me know if I'm missing something. And before you tell me, Gyro, PvP, mate, I don't play PvP. And all my subscribers, all my supporters for many years now, or several years anyway, know that fact. So I'm sorry if I didn't make it very clear to you at the beginning. No PvP included in this particular guide, and never will be, because I'm not a PvP player. Thanks for watching. Give the video a quick like so that more casuals come to our campfire in the woods, so to speak. The more of us here, the merrier. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. We try to help each other have fun in World of Warcraft for what it's worth. Thanks again. Talk to you next time.